Hi everyone, and welcome to the Planet and NGIS webinar, Fast and Flexible Imagery with Planet. My name's Sarah Butler and I'm the Marketing Manager at NGIS Australia, and I'd like to thank all of you for coming. I'm absolutely thrilled you can all join us today, hopefully from the comfort of your homes where you're safe and hopefully able to continue working as best as you can for now. That's definitely a theme that's been a strong focus for us in the GIS space at the moment. Thankfully, now we live in a world where it's possible to make data-driven decisions from your home or work. And now with high-frequency satellite imagery providers like Planet, the decisions and tasks you would have needed to make on the field can be accessed and viewed with a few clicks on your desktop. Our speakers will cover that in a little bit more detail, but first of all, I just wanted to do a little bit of GoToWebinar housekeeping so that you know exactly how to use it. So as an attendee, you're in listen-only mode. This means that you don't need to connect your microphone, and hopefully you're using a high-speed wide internet connection. We recommend using your computer audio, and a USB headset will definitely give you the best quality sound. Your GoToWebinar control panel ensures that you have the correct settings for the call under the audio banner. And if you have a question, you can use the questions panel and we'll be able to ask the panelists at the end of the webinar. You can collapse your panel view using the orange arrow on the top left-hand side of the controls. We will be recording the webinar, so you'll receive that recording shortly after the webinar has aired. And if you wish to leave the webinar at any time, simply use the cross in the top right-hand corner of the control panel. So that brings us into our webinar content for today. So today we are very lucky to have Trevor McDonald, who is the Senior Sales Engineer at Planet, joining us all the way from the US. Thank you so much, Trevor. And also we have Sam Atkinson, who's the Manager of Earth Observations at NGIS Australia.
Thanks, Sarah. Pleasure to be here.
Today's agenda will be covering off a little bit about Planet, which Trevor will take. Sam will be telling everybody about NGIS and EO data science. We'll be covering off use cases, both global and Australian focused, and then Trevor will finish up with a little bit about, I guess, what to expect in future from Planet, and then we'll have a 10-minute Q&A session. But for now, I'm going to pass over control of the webinar to Trevor. Over to you.
Great, thanks, Sarah. Great to be here. So here at Planet, we're a mission-driven organization, and Planet's mission one was to image the whole world every day, making that change visible, accessible, and actionable. And this was actually accomplished in late 2017. So you can clap at home, but this was a big accomplishment for us at Planet and continues to be our driving force. All in all, whatever industry you're in, this quote, "You can't fix what you can't see," applies to whatever industry, role, geography. You can't fix what you can't see. And what Planet's imagery capabilities unlock is the ability to see those things that were previously unseen. Some challenges that have Earth observation is not new. We stand on the giants of folks like NASA and ESA and others for putting a path down for us to follow, and we've really taken advantage of some of those technological leaps. But there have been some challenges. There's been some lack of insight, which can lead to inaction and ultimately uninformed decisions. With this in mind, this traditional approach of Earth observation with a single, highly expensive satellite has created some challenges, as well as it's created some opportunities for folks like Planet. First and foremost, limited coverage and low revisit kind of go hand in hand here. So typically you won't see revisit rates on the say a day. You'll see it on 8 days or 10 days or 16 days. And with Planet, you can have access to daily imagery within 24 hours. We've also enabled RESTful APIs so that you can gain access to this imagery exceptionally quick. And NGIS will jump into some of those use cases later. But just to get you thinking about this, in the span of a day, a week, or a month, An illegal logging road can appear in the forest, and 1,000-year-old trees can be lost forever. This, is essential for monitoring our environment. Things happen every day. In the span of a day or a week or a month, a community can be devastated by a natural disaster, and local governments lack the ability to deploy emergency responders effectively. With Planet data, you'll see some of these use cases in action. First, our 15 SkySat satellites have 72-centimeter resolution, delivering red, green, blue, near-infrared, and panchromatic imagery, and they can image any location on Earth twice per day. We have an upcoming launch, which we call Block 3, which is slated for later in this quarter, and will be providing additional coverage with 6 satellites at a very unique 53-degree inclined orbit. Ultimately, what this means for you as a Planet customer or NGIS customer is that you'll have improved frequency for collection and ultimately more opportunities for us to collect for our customers. We'll have some additional updates on some of the things we've been working on here later in this presentation. These PlanetScope doves are what helped us achieve that mission 1 in imaging the Earth every single day. There's about 130 of these up in space, imaging around 3 to 5 meters. They currently have red, green, blue, and near-infrared bands. But this is unprecedented. We've managed to pack some of the latest and greatest technology into here. These satellites are about the size of a shoebox rather than a size of a school bus. This visualization will give you a sense of how our collection actually operates. So the Earth is rotating. We have about 130 of these PlanetScope satellites in space, kind of like a string of pearls. As the Earth rotates, you image, creating a line scanner for the planet. Additionally, we have SkySats, 15 of them, as we said. And these really allow you to target specific areas that you care about. So in the case of any event, you can fill in the blank there, a flood or a fire. You can monitor broad areas and then zoom in and find out exactly what roads or what other activity is going on the ground in terms of response. Finally, we're collecting a lot of data, but ultimately the 3 data sets I'll really be covering later in the presentation will be our monitoring, base maps, and tasking data sets. If you're going to walk away knowing the Planet data sets are as easy as understanding the quotes below. Our Planet monitoring solution is always on, imaging Earth's landmass every day. Our base maps can create a cloud-free, consistent, and highly frequent base map of any location on Earth, this here being Central America. And finally, our tasking capabilities with SkySat, which all in all is a tasking collection, and we don't collect it until you order it.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Trevor. I'm just going to pass it now over to Sam. Over to you, Sam.
Thanks, Sarah. Thanks for the overview of Planet, Trevor. That was good. So yeah, I'm Sam Atkinson. I'm the Manager of Earth Observation at NGIS Australia and also the General Manager of EO Data Science. So NGIS is Australia's longest running and most awarded dedicated spatial consultancy. So we only do spatial, but within spatial, we pretty much do everything. So we've got 50 staff across our offices in Perth and Sydney. I'll note as well that we operate purely business to business, so our clients don't have to worry about NGIS cannibalising their customer base, as we're really solely focused on supporting their engagement with their customers. So NGIS is unique in its really large suite of technology partners. So these logos you see here aren't just products we're familiar with. These are actual trusted partners that we work very closely with. We leverage these relationships to access the best technology to design fit-for-purpose solutions for our customers. It's important to emphasise that NGIS is technology agnostic. And what that means is we always recommend the best tech solution for our clients, regardless of whether that solution is a partner or not. This is a core part of how we do business, and to be honest, it's been critical to our success over the past nearly 30 years. Often the solutions our clients require are multi-content, so combining the relative strengths of open access as well as commercial satellite imagery with aerial survey or drones. Again, our focus is on delivering our clients the capability to deliver all of the data that their solution requires. This is why we're so proud to be a Planet partner. The cadence, coverage, and incredible value of Planet's offering, combined with the ease of access, supports us to deliver really fantastic solutions. EO Data Science is NGIS's dedicated Earth observation capability. The team is growing, but is currently 3 remote sensing specialists, a machine learning engineer, and 3 software developers. So we love the new and exciting data, the fresh, cutting-edge science, but also that's the science that's really established, and of course all the technology that keeps coming to market. But our focus is really on taking that and then having a real-world impact. For example, we're proud to be working with the Group on Earth Observations and Google Earth Engine, providing technical support for 2 years to 25 international projects addressing global challenges related to climate change, sustainable development, and disaster risk reduction. The successful projects will be announced in the coming months, and we're really excited to be part of contributing to their success. We work similarly with commercial organisations to take data, science, and technology and deliver systems that provide significant business value. Often our solutions are web mapping platforms that communicate spatial data and insights to non-spatial professionals. This may be to business managers or to the public, as seen here. Or software as a service provided by our clients to their customers. I should note that the agriculture platforms you can see here don't currently use Planet imagery. Often the spatial processing backbone of the platforms we develop is Google Earth Engine. In some ways, Earth Engine and Planet are similar. Both enable global scaling of insights. So Earth Engine is a software as a service that combines more than 600 data sets, including all open access data from NASA and ESA. And this currently totals more than 28 petabytes with around 4,000 new images added every day. Earth Engine combines that data catalogue with the massive compute of Google Cloud, fully featured JavaScript and Python APIs, and additionally a browser-based IDE. Planet also use Google Cloud for their huge storage and processing requirements. This means that integrating Planet data to the systems we build is rapid. Not only that, the quality of the Planet API also makes it very easy. So this architecture you can see here is how we are delivering insights with Planet data in combination with hundreds of other data sets, taking that real multi-content approach to solution delivery. We wrap that up in a web interface that makes the insights highly accessible to non-spatial professionals. Increasingly, we are integrating neural network-based machine learning running in Google Cloud, but with predictions implemented via Google Earth Engine. This makes model outputs highly available to users, globally scalable, and importantly, entirely automated. Planet's daily cadence and low-cost imagery is enabling monitoring solutions that provide near real-time insights that represent incredible value. Now I'll hand over to Trevor to talk through some of the kind of global use cases of how people are using Planet imagery. Over to you, Trevor.
Thanks, Sam. I'm super excited to get into Google Earth Engine and play around in there. Appreciate that. So first and foremost here, I'm just going to walk through some use cases just to give you a sense of how current customers are using this imagery. The Iowa Emergency Response Team responded to a bomb cyclone in spring 2019. And this particular unit used our PlanetScope monitoring and SkySat solutions to get a better sense of what was going on the ground and determine how to respond to this particular situation. As you can see, it's pretty dire here. This image here is going to be of PlanetScope So it gives you a broad area sense of what's occurring on the ground. And as we zoom in, you can start to notice that the resolution becomes coarser. Now, we don't see this as an issue because we have it everywhere, but we can also queue up our SkySat imagery, which you can see here, that gives you 72 centimeter resolution at your fingertips. This imagery is quickly tasked and collected and distributed to our customers, really giving our customers the ability to make these decisions as quickly as they can request an image. Next up is a forestry related use case. The FAO, UN FAO, and Global Forest Watch are both organizations that use our imagery to monitor tropical forests. This particular image is in Mato Grosso, and this is of some of the forest fires that I'm sure most of us heard about last year. Those fires don't only happen during, big news events or reporting, but they're always occurring. And our imagery, daily imagery, allows them to continue to monitor these locations and just the extent of what's going on in the broad expanse of the Amazon and elsewhere. One of my favorites that I've been blessed with being a part of is an engagement with Vulcan Philanthropy and researchers from around the world, experts on benthic classification and coral reef conservation. Our PlanetScope base maps and SkySat monitoring were used in this Allen Coral Atlas to map the different benthic habitat types, and in addition, monitor these habitat types for bleaching events that continue to occur at a higher frequency than ever before. Next up, this is really exciting stuff with Google that we have going on. This just happens to be a zoomed out SkySat image of a very flood prone area in India. This is one of many, as you can expect, and they've been able to monitor these floodways to determine the flood risk. This has also helped them to predict where this flood extent and potential high risk of damage may be. With that, they've been able to distribute public alerts through popular geospatial mapping of Google Maps to give an early warning system for not only citizens to respond, but also for governments to be more resilient and respond more quickly during these events. Over to you, Sam.
Thanks, Trevor. That coral reef habitat mapping collaboration, it was a pretty big collaboration as well, has really produced some fascinating work. So if anyone out there is not familiar with it, I'd highly encourage you to check it out. It's really cool. So now I want to touch on some Australian use cases or case studies. So I'm sure most people would have heard that this past summer in Australia, we experienced a really horrendous bushfire season. So really massive areas across the country were affected by literally hundreds of fires, and 34 people lost their lives. A massive response was seen, not only of course from like emergency services and local communities, but also across government and the private sector. As that initial response shifted to a recovery phase, the wide-ranging contribution really continued. In New South Wales, the Department of Primary Industries and Environment, in collaboration with the University of New South Wales, released GBAM, so using Earth Engine to provide a burnt area map. And so this has been critical for environmental agencies planning emergency actions to support, for example, critically endangered fauna. Department of Environment, Land, Water and Planning in Victoria also implemented a very similar solution, in that case with significant support from Planet. In February, the Surveying and Spatial Sciences Institute coordinated one of the Asia Pacific's largest ever mapathons. So the objective was to capture fire damaged infrastructure and make it available in the OpenStreetMap platform. And an incredible 2.8 million hectares of imagery was reviewed and a substantial number of damaged buildings were identified. So the Mapathon provided data that supported many organisations. Examples include the Red Cross using it to check on vulnerable people. Government agencies used it to make damage assessments and then prioritise services. and even industry associations used it to understand the impacts on their members. The Mapathon relied on very recent imagery to map fire damaged areas, and Planet donated a massive amount of imagery to that cause, as did Airbus and Nearmap. Planet data was immensely useful to provide the necessary coverage and, importantly, cadence required to get imagery amongst all the smoke from the fires and residual fires, and also, of course, cloud. So that excellent coverage was then supplemented by the higher resolution data of the other vendors. So wildfires have always been a part of the Australian landscape, and the use of regular small fires to reduce fuel loads is a common and ancient strategy to mitigate the risk of dangerous fires. Last year, we worked with a client in northern Western Australia to develop a tool that would provide maps of historical fires, either controlled or natural, so that they could better plan where to undertake those controlled burns to protect infrastructure. We achieved this with Google Earth Engine and its unique ability to compare changes between every single Landsat 8 and Sentinel image over the last 8 years. Okay, this video will play, excellent. So here's another example of our work with deep time series of Earth observation data and making the insights that can be drawn accessible to decision makers. So this application was developed for a mining client as a web front end to Google Earth Engine. It enables our client to create points or polygons and investigate temporal trends from 1987 to present in vegetation and water indices, as well as, of course, climatic variables. This tool enables our client to identify environmentally sensitive areas long before a new mine is planned, so that then planning can protect those important areas. This is an example of how we use Google Earth Engine to deliver positive impacts. Now we're excited to be in discussions to integrate Planet imagery into this solution to improve resolution and detect changes to vegetation health at much higher cadence. So I touched on the use of neural net based machine learning earlier, but I'll dive a little deeper here because we feel that Planet's approach to data capture and delivery really enables some novel services or solutions to be developed. So we've developed a model specifically to address the requirements of mining companies to finally map and report all ground disturbance. So ground disturbance is basically land clearing, but in the Pilbara, so the northern part of Western Australia, there's often very little vegetation to clear. So yeah, we use the term ground disturbance because it's probably a little bit more accurate. So mapping each road, culvert, exploration track, drill pad, pit, laydown, etc. Is extremely labour intensive. And the fact that there is often no vegetation means that, you know, conventional vegetation index differencing approaches just isn't a viable method. Our approach was to use a deep neural network to detect ground disturbance change between two images. Here we can see some minor roads and tracks and some exploration drilling in 2017. The same area in 2019 has seen haul roads constructed and grade control drilling completed. For those of you that have spent any time digitising features, you'll immediately recognise that even this small area would take a few hours, several hours to digitise. And this is just a small part of a much larger mining operation. Here you can see that same area with the model prediction overlain in red. Some false positives, yes, but I think you'll agree it's pretty close. And particularly considering that we've not finished model development on this yet. We've got a fair bit of tuning to do, but these initial results really excited us. So in terms of evaluation, here you can, I suppose, see the visual outputs. So overall accuracy on this area was 95%. Actually revealed some errors in the hand digitized layer. And a test on a much larger area gave us 97% accuracy. These results and the conventional hand digitized method rely on high resolution aerial imagery. So in this case, we're using 15 centimetre, and that's a pretty common resolution used for this task. But that puts a big price tag on each update to a company's disturbance mapping register. So naturally, we tweaked the model and tested it on PlanetScope imagery. The accuracy achieved really surprised us, to be honest, with our two test areas giving 86% and 95% overall accuracy. And a fair amount of that error simply came from comparing 4 meter, 3.5, 4 meter resolution imagery to polygons which were digitized from 15 centimeter imagery. Now, with plenty of options to improve the model in front of us, we're really excited about this. Because of the daily coverage and low cost of Planet data, novel solutions are now available. For example, instead of annual or biannual mapping of disturbance, mining companies can now have daily monitoring. So that enables monitoring of contractor performance or automated alerts if buffer zones around culturally or environmentally sensitive areas are breached. For operations that have a set limit of permitted ground disturbance, daily burn down calculations can be provided to management. With Planet's archive available, a complete audit of when and where ground disturbance occurred could be completed if that was ever needed. Importantly though, there is now an affordable means to map ground disturbance at very remote exploration areas. So no need to commission an aerial survey for what might be a small and very remote area, or to actually have boots on ground to have it physically surveyed. For sites where quarterly or annual aerial survey images are available, these can then be used for an annual kind of reconciliation of the daily ground disturbance data. And this again kind of highlights, I think, the value of Planet data as part of a multi-content solution where Planet unlocks the huge value of daily monitoring. Now I'll hand back over to you, Trevor, because I'm really excited to see what Planet might have coming up in future for us.
Thanks, Sam. Yeah, I appreciate the amount of work it goes into digitizing those types of areas. I've had some energy use cases myself, so I might be calling you for that. So up next, there's a few updates here I'm super excited to share. If I can get over to move my slide, there we go. First and foremost, I just want to put this down that, Planet is part of a comprehensive approach. And I said this at the beginning, we're standing on the shoulders of giants here with NASA and ESA, laying, Landsat 8, its legacy will never be forgotten. And I think that we're not here to leave that in the past. We want to leverage that today with the updated technology that we put in space and we enable our customers with. And with that, any other source of data that's out there, hyperspectral, LiDAR, whatever the next thing is, we want to find ways to be complementary to these data sources and to be honest and truthful where our data fits best and where we might need an assist. And with that, of course, Landsat 8 and Sentinel-2 have been the workhorses for, I think, many Earth observation users in generating those solutions. And so any way that we can partner, we want to do that. And so without further ado, no more suspense, we'll announce SuperDove. So SuperDove is going to be a 5 and then an 8-band product that we are going to be distributing to our customers, which has basically mapped to the Sentinel-2 and Landsat 8 band so that any model that is built on top of these data sets can be ported over and leveraged with the flip of a switch. This is really exciting, and you'll continue to see things like this because in Planet's DNA, it's what we call agile aerospace. There's agile software, but in agile aerospace, you continue to just improve on the spectral resolution, the temporal resolution, and also the spatial resolution. So this is super exciting, and I'm excited to get it into the hands of folks out there that have a lot of experience using or developing algorithms with Landsat 8 and Sentinel-2. Here's a quick overview of what that looks like. So Sentinel-2, for example, up top, these are the spectral bands for you more technical users. Initially, Dove Classic is the workhorse that we accomplished in our Mission 1 in 2017. Dove R includes more pure spectral bands, as you can see, splitting apart the red, green, and blue. And SuperDove finally has a 8 bands, but initially will be distributed as 5 and then 8 in the near term. And I'm really excited to see the new applications, not only leveraging the old tried and true algorithms, but also with this increased frequency, how that really affects broad scale measurements of different activity or different phenomena that's happening in an environment. Here's a few examples of what this would look like. This is just your plain old red, green, and blue, but you can really see the crispness of this imagery, and it's just beautiful. I mean, I look at pictures all day, but I just love seeing this. Additionally, here's our near infrared green 1 and coastal blue bands. These spectral bands, it's cool to talk about them, but ultimately, what can the data do for you? And the coastal blue can do a lot of wonderful things in terms of with coastal applications or using it for determining how much aerosol is in the air. So it goes beyond just being a cool technology. We really want to get this into the hands of our users and enable new or more frequent measurements of what you've already been looking at. Finally here, red edge, yellow, and blue. And we've taken a lot of feedback from our customers. So you can see some agricultural fields here. And this sort of spectral wavelength can really assist in particular with any type of vegetation measurement, but especially when it comes to crops. Kind of ruining the surprise by not teeing it up here, but our SkySats, the 15 we have up today and the 6 that we will be launching towards the end of Q2 in 2020, are being moved in altitude such that we can collect at 50 centimeter. We're also adding some additional image processing to this to get it to that 50 centimeter. And again here, there's a lot of really new age data science image classification or object detection that I think moving just that little bit down in altitude, getting from 72 to 50 is going to unlock. And many of our customers have talked about some of these things, but I'm always interested in finding those edge cases or those new applications that our customers may have. This is just a simulated example of what the imagery might look like. This is in San Francisco. Even though 72 centimeters and being able to image any point location on Earth, twice per day with our current capabilities, it's amazing what's going to be able to happen with this 50 centimeter data. And again, this is going to enable being able to fix something that you previously weren't able to see. So it's not always about the frequency. And I'm really excited to see this 50 centimeter get into the hands of all of our customers. So I'm going to pass this back to Sam, but I do want to thank you all for tuning in and hope to chat with you all soon.
Okay, thank you so much, Trevor. That brings us to the end of our planned agenda. But just a quick recap before we head into our Q&A, and just as a reminder to everybody, on your GoToWebinar control panel, there is a questions menu there, so you can put your question in. The guys are ready to answer those questions for you. We've had a couple come through already, but just take a minute now to think about a question you might like to ask and just pop it in there. But so far, we've had Trevor cover off a bit about Planet and some stuff to look forward to in terms of their future work. The guys also covered the global and Australian use cases, and Sam also told us a little bit about NGIS and EO data science. So we'll now move into our Q&A component of the webinar. And first up, I'm just going to get started with a couple of questions that came through during the presentations before. So the first one's from Janet. And Janet wanted to know how easy is it to automatically ingest planet imagery into Google Earth Engine and work with it? That sounds like one for you, Sam.
Yes, that does sound like one. So we've been doing a lot of work in this space. I mean, the short answer is it's easy. There's two key reasons for that, really. Is the first is Planet's API is great. It's one of the best we've worked with, and yeah, look, so if there's any of the Planet engineering team listening, big thumbs up, awesome work with the API. So that's one reason. But the other reason as well is that, of course, Google Earth Engine's in Google Cloud, but so is the Planet data. So that makes the actual shifting of that data in terms of, egress, ingest time just super quick. It's in the same infrastructure already. So our work around that is to, basically the solutions we're building just have an automated API call to Planet into a Google Cloud bucket. And then just a simple function sends that straight into Earth Engine. And I'll share some breaking news as well. Just yesterday, we've kind of had the idea, and it's again surprisingly easy to kind of slightly modify the Planet Explorer QGIS plugin such that it sends the data directly to Earth Engine. So we're going to do a bit more work on that, but I think it might be a pull request going through to Planet to see if you want to consider that one. So yeah, in short, it's easy, and having getting that data into Earth Engine makes it very simple to work with. Those really deep time series of daily data and across big areas.
Great, thanks, Sam. We had a question come through from Sadiq. And he's asked a question which I think would be great for you, Trevor, which is, would you be able to provide the flood maps in the Hawkesbury Nepean River during the flood event of the 7th to 10th of February 2020, which is a very specific question. And just going back to use cases and some of the things you were talking about, Trevor, with flooding, that might be best for you.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Sadiq, for the question as well. So I will say that the short answer is yes, but I do want to give some context. And the easiest way to think of Planet is that we're a data company, and with Planet Scope imagery, it's always on, always imaging every landmass of Earth. Now, that being said, we can't see through clouds, but I would bet that we would have the highest probability of getting an optical image first. So for any event, whether, especially ones with clouds like a hurricane, a cyclone, or a flood in this case, however that occurred, we would likely have our PlanetScope imagery at 3-meter resolution, which could then be used to draw that flood extent map either automatically or manually. But given what we've seen, I think that with NGIS's capability, they would likely be able to map that for you in an automated fashion.
Thank you, Trevor. We've got another question. This one's from James Brinkhoff, and that is, are there plans to more tightly integrate Planet images into Google Earth Engine, i.e. without needing to image by image download and upload? That sounds like Sam and Trevor, you can both answer that, but I'll start with Sam.
Yeah, I'll kick that off. So yes, I believe there are, and in fact, James, just after you posted that question, Sam Roy, one of the Planet engineering gurus, has also kind of posted in a comment that that they're also working on an integration from Planet side directly. So I suppose long story short is, I know from our relationships both with Google and Planet that both engineering teams are working on it, are collaborating on it. In terms of timeline, I don't know. There's a fair amount to be worked through there, of course. Planet is a commercial business, so there are commercials to be determined around that. But yeah, I can definitely confirm there is engineering work being done on that, and I think everyone can really see the benefits of it, just like you can, James. Trevor, have you got any further info on that one?
Yeah, I think I can say that there's a lot of energy and effort being invested in that right now. You will likely see some public news sometime in Q2 with likely some improvements in Q3. So stay tuned on that one, but it's definitely at the top of our list in terms of our product and engineering resources. So I'm also very excited to see that. And as always, these are flexible dates, but stay tuned, and we're definitely working towards that, because as you can see with some of the applications that NGIS has built there, it's an amazing machine behind the scenes. It can do amazing things, and I'm just blown away as a Earth observation person at what's to come.
Thanks, Trevor. We've had a couple more questions just come through. Guys, if you have any more questions, we're just going to take maybe 3 to 4 more questions if we've got the time. So if you are holding back a question, now's the time to send it through. But we've had one come through from Shubo, who has asked, does Planet or NGIS have pre-trained machine learning models available for pay-per use, like models to detect crop types or irrigation events, etc.? Sam?
Short answer is no, and I mentioned it in one of our earlier slides. You know, NGIS work purely business to business, so creating a product and then kind of taking it to market isn't really an approach we really take. Having said that, we've worked with a lot of clients to develop very specific machine learning models to kind of address their requirements, and so that's probably the model we prefer to work to, rather than kind of putting something in a can and putting it on the shelf and hoping somebody buys it.
Trevor, did you have anything you wanted to add to the answer on that question?
Yeah, sure. I think just broadly speaking, you know, we have for the folks out there, you know, NGIS will definitely have to put effort into building those models, but to say that with our data, a lot of those listed things are possible. So it will take some effort, but it is possible, and even more so when we start to distribute our 5 and 8 band products that you all know and love from Sentinel-2 and Landsat, very similar spectral wavelengths.
Great, and we've also had a question come through from Jim Laycock, who has asked, can cropping area by crop type be mapped, which is kind of similar to what we were just saying. But Sam, did you want to answer Jim's question?
Yeah, I'll touch on that. Yes, it can be. We've done kind of similar work using Sentinel previously, and there are plenty of products on the market kind of addressing that specific question or use case.
Great. Well, guys, I think that's all we've got time for this morning. I'd really like to thank everybody for attending the webinar today. We had just over 100 people register, so we're really thrilled that you're also interested in the topic. You should expect to see, in terms of next steps, a recording come through shortly. But in the meantime, what we encourage you to do is just have a think about your own use case. Reach out to our team at NGIS. I've put Sam's email address there so that you can reach out to him directly if you like.
Yes, please do.
And you can have a no obligation chat about your project or the problem that you're facing, and hopefully after a chat with our team, who are very closely linked to the Planet team based here in Australia, they can help come up with some ideas and solutions that will help you get the answers that you need quickly. So once again, thank you everybody for joining. Thank you very much, Trevor, for joining us from the US, and Sam, thank you very much for being here as well. We hope to see you all again soon on another NGIS webinar down the track, and we have a few more planned with Planet over the course of the next 12 months, so stay tuned. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone.